Hey, Algebra kids, this is Dr. Callahan with Week 18 Monday. Congrats on making it almost to the end. So I'm going to have you guys go ahead and pause the video and answer the following questions when it comes to your warm-up log. All right, so then I'm going to have you guys go ahead and turn over to Week 17 Thursday in your white guided notes. I am aware that today is Week 18 Monday, but we're going to go back to Week 17 Thursday. And what you'll see is that you have 6 pages front and back, so essentially 12 pages on your final exam study guide. And the answers are in multiple choice at the end. Your study guide or your final is also going to be in the form of multiple choice questions, and your study guide looks very similar to it. So think of it as kind of like a practice final exam. It's very similar to your final, which is going to be on week 21. And this is kind of what it looks like. So this is page 1 of your study guide, page 2, page 3, 4, 5, 6. Just kidding, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So the answers are on the very, very end. So what I would like to do today is just kind of go over some of the practice questions so that way you guys can see them and also understand how to do them. So looking at this right here, I noticed that this first question is an absolute value, so it's going to be a shape of a V. The -2 means it's going to be 2 down, 3 to the right. And the 1/2 means that A is smaller than 1, so it's going to be a wider shaped absolute value. So then which one is starting at 2 down, 3 to the right? This one. So 2 down, 3 to the right, and then here is your absolute value. So your answer here is going to be B. Just kidding, no, it's not. Because if you look at it, this is actually a normal shaped. So A is equal to 1. Whereas with this one, notice how it's a little bit wider. So A is less than 1. So technically your answer is D. Okay, so let's take a look at the following. Which of the following represents G of X and H of X based on the following description? So G of X is going to be reflecting over the graph. So it's going to have a negative absolute value of X and then translating up 1, so plus 1. H of X is going to be translating of the graph of this. So negative X, and it's going to be 1 unit up. So then which one does it look like it's going to be? Probably D. Okay, question number 3. Which of the following is a solution for the equation here? So this is the absolute value. Let's subtract the 6 on both sides. Get rid of that -2 by divided by -2 on both sides. -2 cancels. Absolute value of X plus 3 is equal to 4 divided by -2 is a -2. So we're going to go ahead and split that to X plus 3 equals -2. X plus 3 equals +2. And then we're going to subtract a 3 on both sides. X equals -5. And X equals -1. So which one does that match? B is it. Another way that you can do this is if you actually graph by the intersection. So if I were to graph this first piece right here, that will be 6 up, 3 to the left. It's going to be an upside down sad face. And it's going to be skinnier. Then for your second part, y equals 10, go up here. Actually, we're not going to do it that way. Just kidding. We'll just skip that one. Okay, let's take a look at question number 4. For question number 4, which one is a solution to this equation? You want to divide it by -3 on both sides. So you have x plus 4 equals positive 2. We're going to go ahead and split that. So it's x plus 4 equals a positive 2. X plus 4 equals a negative 2. Subtract the 4 on both sides. X equals negative 2. Subtract 4 on both sides. X equals negative 6. Given that this is my answer, B seems to match that. Okay, so let's take a look at this one here, okay? We're going to have to graph this to model this equation. So think about how you're going to go about graphing it. I will probably start off with drawing in graph grid like so, and then going from there. Okay, so looking at this here, let's go ahead and graph the first equation. First equation is this one right here. I'm going to start off at 4 up, 2 to the left, sad face, and it's skinny. So 4 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the left, 1, 2. And it's going to go downward and it's going to be skinny. Then your second equation is going to be right here, which is just negative 2x over 1 plus 0. So you're going to start at 0, and your slope is a negative 2 over 1. So you go down 2 over 1. So start at 0, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So it looks something like this. So then looking at this, which graph matched this? I think the one that best represents this graph is probably B. So that will be your answer. Okay, let's go on to number 7. For number 7, we're going to move on to exponents. So we're done with transformations. First thing I notice, I have a negative exponent right there. And I do not want to have any negative exponents. So to make that a positive, I'm going to bring the whole thing down to the denominator. So you have 4g, negative 3, h to the 4th, to a positive 3. But you put a 1 on top. Then what you do is you take that 3, distribute to the 4, g, and the h. So you have 1 over 4 to the 3rd, g to the negative 9, h to the 12th. Well, I know that 4 times 4 times 4 is 16 times 4, which is 64. And that negative 9, I'm going to move up. So I have g to the positive 9, 64, h12. And that matches D. Okay, let's take a look at 8. With number 8, it's saying F times G. Okay, so your F is a negative 3, C to the 1/2, times G, which is a 2C to the 15th over 2, D to the negative 8th. So if I multiply this, negative 3 and 2 is a negative 6. C, we're going to add these numbers together. So 1/2 plus 15 over 2, going back to 3rd grade, is a 16 over 2, which is just an 8. And then you have D, which is a negative 8. You're going to bring it down. So just bring it down, and that's a positive 8. So which equation matches that? It looks like it's A. Okay, so with number 9, we're going to go ahead and reduce this as well. There's a few things I see here that I don't like. One is, remember, no negative exponents, and I do have them right here and here, so I'm going to have to move them. Then I have 36 and 4. So what is 36 divided by 4? That should give you a 9. Let's move that m down, so m to the positive 4, and then n stays. N moves up, n squared, into the 6, and move the p up, p to the 4th. So let's go ahead and combine some of them. 2 plus 6 is n to the 8th, p to the 4th. 4 plus 1 is a 5. So which one matches this one here? And it looks like C. All right, number 10 is on square roots. Another way of writing this is square root of 18 over square root of 42. You cannot have square roots in the denominator, so we're going to multiply by square root of 42, top and bottom. So on the bottom, square root cancels, you have a 42. Then on top, another way of writing 18 is 9 and 2. Another way of writing 42 is 2 and 21. So then looking at this, square root of 9 gives me a 3. What happens with the square root of 2 and square root of 2? Those square root cancels, and that 2 is free. Unfortunately, the square root of 21 stays inside. So I get 6 square root of 21 over 42. And then if I divide 6 on both, that becomes a 1. That becomes a 7. So which one matches my answer? 1 square root of 21 over 7? A it is. Okay, so we went over 10 different questions, which I think is sufficient for today. We'll continue on with the rest of these questions for this week. Keep in mind that you guys have a total of 66 questions. So I think if we go over 10 a day, we should be good with that pacing. Just make sure on the hyper days that you also watch the video for the ones that you're not going to be here in person for. So that way you guys can do this. I will recommend now that you guys keep going with this. We have a quizzes that's going to tell you about how to go about studying for the math final. So make sure you guys go to joinmyquiz.com and you are going to type in the following code, which is going to be 07108202. And it is going to be about 10 questions on how to study for the final. All right, guys, as always, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.